2. As I mentioned, this time we're going to discuss about module number 2, the demand for security. So the core aim of an information security program, unlike any other information technology program, is to ensure that systems and their contents remain the same. Organizations spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, no, and tens of thousands of man hours to keep their data system up to date. These resources now may be used to improve the systems that support the information if risk to information in system did not exist. Attacks on information system, on the other hand, happen on a regular basis, and the demand for information security arises in tandem with the sophistication of such attacks. Organization must comprehend the context in which information system functions in order for their information security plans to handle both current and foreseeable issues. And this module explains the current environment and the threats it possesses to business and their data. So business need first. Now, for an organization, information security serves 4 critical functions. Now, number 1, keeping the organization's ability to function safe. Ensure the applications operating on the organization's IT platforms are safe to use. Keeping the data that the company obtains, utilizes safe. And lastly, keeping the company's or organization technological assets safe. In protecting an organizational functionality, the implementation of information security that safeguards the organization's ability to function is the responsibility of both general management and IT management. Although many organizations and government executives avoid dealing with information security because they believe it is a technically difficult issue, establishing information security is more about management than it is about technology. Management information security is more about policy and enforcement than it is about the technology used to achieve it. And much as managing payroll is more about management than quantitative wage computation. One of the well-known information security author like Charles Cresson Wood, he mentioned that most of information security is effective information technology management because many individuals believe that adding additional technology to a problem would solve it. But it is not necessarily. So out of the necessity, we've spent a lot of many time trying to persuade by customers to view information security as management issue as well as a technical issue, and information security as a people issue as well as technical issue. So rather than isolating security as a technical concern, each of an organization's communities of interest must address information security in terms of commercial effect and the cost of business interruption. How will be able to provide a safe environment for applications to run? Kasi, syempre, especially for those who are not technically inclined with cybersecurity or information security, they were asking how they will be able to provide a safe environment. Organizations are under a lot of pressure these days to purchase and run integrated, efficient, and powerful apps. Because a modern organization must develop an environment that protects these apps, especially those that are critical to the organization's infrastructures, operating system platforms, electronic mail, and instant messaging services. Organization might buy these components from a service provider or create them themselves. Management must continue to monitor an organization's infrastructure once it has been put in place, rather than delegating it to the IT department. So, protecting data collected and used by organization. An organization's records of transaction and or ability to give value to consumers is lost without data. Tama po ba? Because information systems are essential for any business. educational institution like PTC or government body that operates in the modern world of connected and responsive services. Information system in the data-day process enable the development and transfer of goods and services even when transactions are not conducted online. As a result, securing data in motion as well as data at rest is an important part of information technology because attackers are motivated to steal, sabotage, or corrupt data because of its worth. No? The integrity and value of the organization's data are protected by an effective information security program managed by the organizations or by the management or by the IT department. Now, organizations must use secure infrastructure services that are appropriate for their size and breadth in order to function properly. Let's say, for example, kung PTC siya, no, hindi pa naman ganun kalaki, it may be able to get by with an ISP's email service supplemented with a personal encryption solution. When an organization expands, halimbawa, lumaki na yung PTC, nagkaroon na ng mga master's degree program, no, and so on, it needs to incorporate more security services. Organizational development, let's say, for example, may need the implementation of public key infrastructure or yung PKI na tinatawag natin, which is an integrated system of software, encryption algorithms, and huwag kakalimutan ang legal agreements that can be utilized, no, to support the complete information infrastructure. I believe in looking forward that you've heard already the digital certificates. The digital certificates are used in PKI. No, pag sinabi nating PKI, ano nga ulit yun? Public Key Infrastructure. Okay? Digital certificates are used in PKI to maintain the confidentiality of internet interactions and transactions. A certificate authority embeds an individual's or an organization's public encryption key as well as other identifying information into each of these digital certificates and then cryptographically signs the certificate with a tamper-proof seal, ensuring that integrity of the data within the certificate and validating its use. In general, when an institution or organization's network expand to meet new needs, kapag in-expand natin yan, more powerful technology solutions should take the place of outgrown security measures. So, a firewall, no, which keeps certain types of network traffic out of a private network is an example of a robust solution. Another example is caching network appliances, which are devices that store local copies of internet material, such as frequently visited websites. Rather than accessing the sites from the server each time, the appliance present the cache pages to users. Of course, intellectual property compromises, most commonly, no? Because as part of some commercial activities, no, many organizations create or promote the development of the intellectual property, no? The ownership of ideas and control over the tangible or virtual expression of those ideas is how intellectual property is defined. Use of another person's intellectual property may or may not require royalty payments or permission, but correct credit to the source should always be given. Student, intellectual property includes trade secrets. Let's say, paano ba naging masarap si KFC? Ano ba yung ano yung mga available security features ng isang system na ginagamit ng isang malaking company like San Miguel Corporation, the copyrights, no, the trademarks and the patents, no. So most commonly, unauthorized use of intellectual property poses a hazard to information security. Employees may have access to numerous forms of IP and may be obliged to use it on a daily basis to do business. Okay. Another, organization frequently buy or lease the intellectual property of other organizations, and they must follow the terms of the purchase or license agreement to ensure that the IP or the intellectual property is used fairly and responsibly. Same with let's say with Microsoft Office. If you just only buy one license intended for 15 PCs, it must be installed only with the 15 PCs. But most commonly, some of the organizations, even they just only buy a bundle of 15 license, a 15 bundle license, or one bundle license which allowed to install in 15 PCs, most commonly ginagawa to 30 or to 50. Now, the illegal use or replication of software-based intellectual property, often known as software piracy. It is the most widespread intellectual property breach. Many people and businesses do not purchase software according to the terms of the owner's license agreement because most software is licensed to a specific buyer. It is limited to a single user or a group of users inside an organization. So pwedeng users, a single user, pwede namang group or bundle. No, the copyright is breached if the user copies the program to another computer without obtaining a new license or transferring the license. So, violating software licenses, a classic case of copyright infringement as described in the offline. So a number of regulatory and private bodies vigorously enforce software licensing, and software producers utilize a variety of control techniques to prevent copyright infringement. In addition to software piracy law, the Software and Information Industry Association, formerly known as the Software Publisher Association and Business Software Alliances, investigate claims of software misuse. According to the Business Software Alliance, up to the third of all software in use worldwide is pirated. And to enforce copyright rules, a variety of technical approaches have been used, including digital watermarks and embedded code. So copyright codes and even the purposeful installation of multi-sectors on software media. So the most powerful tool is a license agreement window, which appears during the installation of new software and confirms that the user has read and accepted the license agreement. Kaya lang, pag sobrang haba, di natin binabasa, agree na lang, check na lang, accept na lang. So the only re-registration method is another effort to curb piracy. No? Individual installing software are frequently asked, if not required, to register their software in order to receive technical help or access all capabilities. Some argue that this technique jeopardizes personal privacy because users never know what information is collected from their machines and forwarded to the program maker. Now, when it comes to software attacks on purpose, when an individual or a group builds and deploys software to attack a system, it is known as deliberate software attack. The majority of this software is known as malicious code, harmful software, or malware. These software components or programs are intended to harm, destroy, or prevent the target system from receiving services. Viruses and worms, Trojan horses, logic bombs, and backdoors are some of the more common example of dangerous programming. So the denial of service assault carried out by carried out by on Amazon, no, CNN.com, E-Trade, eBay, Yahoo, Excite, Dell, and so on, stand out among the history of major incidents, no, of malicious code. And this software-based attacks lasted about the hours and cost millions of dollars in income, according to reports. I believe that you are still remember the I Love You virus, no? We have Mafia Boys, no, denial of service attacks in February 2000. We have, of course, the first company to hack out of existence and denial of service attack, which occurred in January 2002. Now, virus. No? A computer virus is made up to code segments that carry out destructive behavior. This code works similarly to a virus pathogen that targets animals and plants, propagating the attack beyond the initial target via the cell's own reproduction engine. The code hooks itself to an existing program and seizes control of that program access to the computer in question. So the virus-controlled target program then execute the virus agenda by replicating itself into further targeted system. So users frequently unknowingly assist viruses in infiltrating a system. Opening, of course, always naman, di ba? Opening infected email or performing some of other seemingly innocuous action might result in anything from messages appearing on your screen or user screen to the full loss of data on entire hard drives. So computer viruses are spread from machine to machine by physical media, email, or other means of computer data transmission, just as their namesakes are passed among living beings. And when these viruses infect a computer, they may scan the local machine for an email application or even send themselves to every user in the address book. Again, email attachment files are one of the most prevalent ways to viruses to spread. Most organizations scan all emails for known viruses and ban certain types of attachment. Viruses used to be slow-moving creatures that communicated viral payloads via the inconvenient transportation of diskettes from one system to the next. And now that the computers are networked, email system can be a fruitful field for computer viruses if proper controls are not in place. So, several well-known manufacturers such as Symantec Norton Antivirus, McAfee Virus Scan, sell tools to aid, of course, the control of computer infection in the current software market place. Okay, now, how about the worms? Worms named after the tapeworm in John Browner's novel, The Shockwave Rider, are harmful programs that endlessly duplicate themselves without the need for another program environment. Worms can keep replicating until all available resources, including the memory, hard drive space, and network bandwidth are used up. So to discover more about the damage a worm may cause, read the offline on Robert Morris and Wormbee produce or reproduce. So, a class of worms known as Code Red, no, Circam, meron tayong Nimda, no, and actually Nimda is kabaliktaran ng admin, ano, and Gliss combines many techniques of attack into a single package. Okay? So, worm can start their sophisticated behavior with or without the user downloading or running the file. Once the worm has attacked a computer, it can spread to all of the affected system's email accounts. Furthermore, a worm can leave copies of itself on all web servers that the affected system can access, infecting users who visit those sites later. Worms also take use of open shares on a network where an infected system is situated, installing working copies of the worm code on the server so that users of those shares are likely to be infected. We have Trojan horse at the same time. Trojan horse are software programs that conceal their true natures until they are activated, at which point they reveal their intended function. So Trojan horses are commonly camouflaged, no, as useful, entertaining, or necessary software such as readme.exe, no, files seen in shareware and freeware software. No? So we have, of course, backdoor or trapdoor. A virus or worm payload can include a component that install a backdoor or trapdoor component in a system, allowing the attacker to access the system with special rights whenever they want. Now, whenever they want. Another is polymorphic threats. So the introduction of polymorphic threats has been one of the most difficult issues in the fight against viruses and worms. A polymorphic threat is one of the alters its appearances to antivirus software programs over time, rendering it undetected by techniques that seek the predefined signatures. To avoid detection by antivirus software packages, many viruses and worms adapt, changing their size and other outward file characteristics. Okay, we have of course virus and worm hawks. As aggravating as virus and worms are, viral hoaxes may consume more time and resources. When well-intentioned people send group emails warning of potentially harmful viruses that those don't exist, they can disturb an organization's harmony and flow. When people fail to follow virus reporting procedures, the network becomes overburdened and users waste time and energy forwarding warning messages to everyone they know, posting them on bulletin boards and trying to update their antivirus software. We have, of course, variation in service quality. We have, of course, internet service issues. We have communication and other service provider issues, power irregularities, espionage or trespass, and so on. Now, we have different forces of nature, like natural disasters, force majeure, and acts of God can pose some of the most catastrophic hazards since they frequently strike without notice are beyond people's control. Ano ba mga ron? Fires, floods, earthquakes, and lightning, as well as volcanic eruptions and bug infestation are example of risks that can interrupt not only people's lives but also the storage, transfer, and use of information. There are some of the more common risks, in what I have mentioned: fire, flood, earthquake, lightning, landslide or mudslide, tornado or strong windstorm, hurricane or typhoon, tsunami, electrostatic discharge, dust contamination kapag masyadong madumi na, and of course some human error or failure. When it comes to information extortion, when an attacker or trusted insider steals information from a computer system, they demand money or promise not to reveal it. In the case of credit card number theft, extortion is frequent. Let's say, for example, data files containing customer credit card information were stolen from CD Universe, a web-based store. A Maxus, a Russian hacker, was the perpetrator who attacked the internet retailer and obtained hundreds of thousands of credit cards details. He posted the card numbers to a website and offered them to the criminal community when the corporation failed to pay. Imagine $100,000 extortion. His website was so popular that he had to limit access. We have, of course, missing, inadequate, or incomplete organizational policy or planning. Pwede rin naman ang problem natin, missing, inadequate, or incomplete controls, sabotage, or vandalism. And at the same time, theft. The theft of a theft, the unauthorized taking of another physical, technological, or intellectual property is always present. When information is copied without the owner's knowledge, its value is diminished. Physical theft can be easily managed with a range of techniques ranging from secure doors to train security personnel, and alarm system installation. Electronic theft, on another hand, is a more difficult issue to manage and regulate. When someone steals a physical object, it's easy to see. If the item is valuable, its absence is observed. But when electronic data is stolen, the crime is sometimes difficult to detect. If thieves are astute and meticulous in their investigation, no one may be aware of the crime until it's far too late. Tama po ba? Another is technical hardware failures or errors. When a manufacturer distributes equipment with a known or undisclosed fault, technical hardware failures or mistakes occur. These flaws might cause the system to functions differently than planned, resulting in inconsistent service or a lack of availability. Some faults are fatal, meaning they result in the equipment's unrecoverable loss. And some defects are intermittent in the sense that they only appear on a regular basis resulting in flaws that are difficult to reproduce, and as a result, equipment can occasionally cease working or work in unexpected ways. Okay? Actually, Murphy's Law state that if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. In other words, the question isn't whether something will fail, but when. Okay? Technical software failure or errors. Thousands of lines of computer codes are produced, debugged, published, and sold before all of their flaws are discovered and fixed. So combination of specific software and hardware can occasionally uncover new flaws. Now, bugs and untested failure circumstances are among the failures, and these defects are sometimes the errors, sometimes not errors, but rather deliberate shortcuts made by programmer for good or bad reasons. Trapdoors refers to shortcut entry routes into programs that evade security checks and can result in major security breaches. Bugs in software are so widespread that entire websites are devoted to chronicling them. We have bug track, which can be found at www.securityfocus.com and gives up to the minute information on the latest security vulnerabilities, as well as a very extensive archive of old issues. Is one of the most widely utilized. Try to visit www.securityfocus.com for you to be aware what will be the past security vulnerabilities and what are the latest security vulnerabilities right now. We have, of course, technological obsolescence. Now, infrastructure that is old or out of date can lead to unreliable and untrustworthy systems. Take note of that. Management must acknowledge that when technology ages, there is a risk of data integrity being compromised by assaults. An analysis of current technology should always be included in management strategic planning. In an ideal world, careful planning by management would prevent technology from becoming obsolete, but when it does, management must adapt quickly because we as IT professionals play an important role in identifying potential obsolescences. Now, Symantec recently ended support for a legacy version of their popular antivirus software. And enterprises that wanted to keep their product support had to update right away to a new antivirus control software. Replacement were made more quickly and at the lesser cost in firms where IT workers had kept management informed of the impending retirement than in organizations where the software had been permitted to become obsolete. We have some different attack, malicious code, spyware, IP scan in attack, mass mail, simple network management protocol, unprotected share, virus, web browsing. Okay, and we had also hoaxes, brute force, dictionary, and so on. So I think you're also aware with regards to denial of service and distributed denial of service. So a denial of service or DOS assault occurs when an attacker bombards a target with a huge number of connection or information requests. There are so many requests that the target system become overburdened and unable to respond, of course, to valid service requests. It's possible that the system will crash or become unable to execute basic activities. Ang distributed denial service naman, assault, is one in which a coordinated flood of requests is sent at the same time against a target from multiple places. We have, of course, spoofing. When we say spoofing, this will be the method of gaining unauthorized access to computers in which intruders send messages using fake source IP address. Then modify packet headers. To insert the fake addresses, IP spoofing can be protected with newer routers and firewalls configurations. We have also man in the middle. May mga ganong tayo instances.
Balance na ako yung
lang. Okay. Man in the middle, an attacker observes or snips, ito mga sniper, package from the network, alters them, and reinsert them into the network in a well-known man in the middle, or TCP hijacking attack. So IP spoofing is used in this type of attack to allow an attacker to mimic another entity on the network. So it gives the attacker the ability to listen in on a conversation as well as edit, remove, redirect, add ports, or divert data. So an encryption key exchange is intercepted in a variation of TCP hijacking, allowing the hacker to serve as invisible man in the middle that is an eavesdropper on encrypted communications. We have, of course, mail bombing, no? Snipers, as I mentioned, social engineering, no? Social engineering is the process of utilizing social skills to persuade someone to provide access credentials or other important information to an attacker in the context of information security. There are a variety of social engineering strategies, most of which entail the perpetrator impersonating someone higher in the organizational hierarchy than the victim. So to prepare this false representation, the offender may have employed social engineering tactics against others in the organization to gather seemingly unrelated data that, when combined, lends credence, no, to the fake presentation. Let's say, for example, no, anyone may look up organization website or phone the name switchboard to find out who the CIO is. So an attacker can then gather even more information by calling other employees and claiming yung fake nga, no, authority by citing the CEO names. Individual acting as a new employees or current employees wanting assistance to avoid being dismissed by the social engineering assaults. To sway the victim, attackers may threaten, cajole, or plead. No? So the advanced P fraud, often known as the 419 fraud outside of Nigeria, is a social engineering attack named after a clause of a Nigerian Penal Code 4-1-9. Scammers frequently use fictional corporations such as Nigeria National Petroleum Company, and they could even create new entities like a bank, a government agency, or a non-governmental group. A sample letter from this type of approach can be, of course, available actually online. No? We have, of course, phone phishing. No? The fake website, no, appears to be legitimate indeed. Users are taken to an authenticate bank web page when they click on either the bottom two icons, personal banking demo, or enrolled in RegionSnet. No? So the access accounts button, or other hand, takes you a simulated page that seems identical to the genuine bank login page. Gayang-gaya niya. So when victims enter their banking ID and passwords, the attacker records it and display a message stating that the site is now unavailable. So the attackers can use the credentials to carry out operations such as money transfer, bill payments, and loan requests. Meron tayong tinatawag na farming, the routing of legitimate web traffic naman to. Meron din tayong tinatawag na timing attack, no? And so on. Now, how will be able to secure software development? Hardware, software, networks, data, procedures, and people who use the system make up systems. So, the software components of the system are the primary cause of many of the information security vulnerabilities mentioned in our discussion. Software that is safe or at least secureable is required for secure system. A methodology such as the system development lifecycle is frequently used to design systems that and the software they employ. Many organizations have realized the importance of including security planning in the software development lifecycle and have implemented procedures to design software that can be deployed securely. Software assurance, or SA, is a methodology for developing a software. So there are some software design principles. And of course, we need to consider some typical security principles in the mechanism economy, fail-safe defaults, fulmination, open design, privilege separation, least privilege, no, least common mechanism, and psychological acceptability. Software development security problems. What will be the most common software development security problems? Some software development issues that result in software that is difficult or impossible to deploy in a secure manner have been labeled deadly sins in software security. These 20 problems are in software development, also known as software engineering, were first categorized by John Beaga at the request of Amit Yoran, the director of Department of Homeland Security's National Cyber Security Division at the time. We have, of course, buffer overruns then at the same time. Common injection, no? Cross-site scripting, failure to handle errors, failure to protect network traffic, failure to store and protect data securely, failure to use cryptographically strong random numbers, format string problems, no? Neglecting change control, improper file access, improper use of SSL, no? Yung secure socket layers, information leakage, no? Integer bugs, yung overflows, underflows, no? Erase conditions, no? SQL injection, the domain name system, no? And so on. We have, of course, unauthenticated key exchange, no? Use of magic URL and hidden forms, no? Use of weak password-based system, common na ginagawa natin, na ina-advise dapat lagi at least 12 and above password, change every month, sometimes for usability, no? When it comes to for usability, employee prefer to accomplish things in a simpler manner. So when given the choice between a official and unofficial means of doing a task, they favor the latter. So the best way to solve this problem is to present only one option, the secure option, integrating security with usability, providing additional training and awareness, and maintaining solid controls and contribute to information security, allowing users to fall back on simpler, more usable alternatives will certainly result in a lost revenue. So I'll just want to play a video presentation, a continuation of what I have mentioned earlier, which is the demand for security.
The demand for security, lesson 2. Protecting an organization functionality. The main idea is that individuals and teams will often protect things having to do with their power, status, autonomy, decision making, and job security. Problems arise when these things are protected at the level of individual or the team, counter to what needs to be done for good of the organization. All organizations need protection against cyber attacks and security threats, and investing in those protection is important. Data breaches are time-consuming, expensive, and bad for business. With strong InfoSec, a company reduces the risk of internal and external attacks on information technology systems, providing a safe environment for applicants to run. Organizations are under a lot of pressure these days to purchase and run integrated, efficient, and powerful apps. A modern company must develop an environment that protects these apps, especially those that are critical to the company's infrastructure, operating system platforms, electronic emails, and instant messaging services. Protecting data collected and used by organizations. One of the most valuable assets in data is data. Without data, an organization loses its record of transactions and or its ability to deliver value to its customers. An effective information security program is essential to the protection of the integrity and value of organizations' data. Tips for protecting your organization data. Implement a data security plan. Encrypt data. Communicate data securely use access controls and firewalls, use external service providers carefully, keep some data of the network final thoughts. Keeping organizational technology assets safe. Educate your workforce. Many employees in company often have access to sensitive data. Institute a security policy. Use a strong, reliable antivirus application. Maintain and use the proper equipment. Threats. Management must be informed of the various kinds of threats facing the organization. A threat is an object, person, or other entity that is represent a constant danger to an asset. By examining each threat category in turn, management effectively protects its information through policy, education and training, and technology controls. Software attacks on purpose, virus, worm, Trojan horse, backdoors or trapdoor, polymorphic threats, hoax, trespass. Force of nature, force majeure, or acts of God are dangerous because they are unexpected and can occur with very little warning. Can disrupt not only the lives of individuals but also the storage, transmission, and use of information. Include fire, flood, and earthquake and lightning as well, volcanic eruption, and infestation. Since it is not possible to avoid many of these threats, management must implement controls to limit damage and also prepare contingency plans for continued operation. Human error or failure includes acts done with no malicious intent, caused by inexperience, improper training, incorrect assumption, other circumstances. Employees are greatest threats to information security. They are closest to the organizational data. Many of these threats can be prevented with controls. Information extortion. Missing inadequate or incomplete organizational policy or planning. Missing inadequate or incomplete controls. Sabotage or vandalism. Thief. Technical hardware failures or errors. Technological obsolescence, obsolescence, attack, malicious code, hoax, brute force dictionary. Denial of service or DOS and distributed denial of service DDoS. Denial of service attacks sends a large number of connection or information requests to a target. Spoofing technique using to gain unauthorized access whereby the intruder sends message to computer with an IP address indicating that the message is coming from a trusted host. Man-in-the-middle attack. Attackers sniff packet from the network, modifies them, and inserts them back into the network. Mail bombing. Also, a DOS is which an attacker routes large quantities of an email to the target. Sniffers. Program and or device that can monitor data traveling over a network. Social engineering. Within the context of information security, the process of using social skills to convince people to reveal access, credential, or other valuable information to the attacker. Phone phishing. In a voice phishing or phishing scam scholar impersonate legitimate companies to steal money and personal and financial information. Timing attack works by exploring the contents of a web browser cache. Another attack by the same name involves in attempting to intercept cryptographic elements to determine keys and encryptions of algorithms. Secure software development. Software development is a methodology for creating software that incorporates security in every phase of security development life cycle or SDLC. Security is baked into the code from interception rather than agencies. After testing reveals critical product flaws, putting security under the spotlight ensures application confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Software assurance and the SA common body of knowledge. Building secure software is not only the responsibility for of a software engineer, but also the responsibility of the stakeholders, which include management, project managers, business analysis, quality assurance managers, technical architects, security specialists, application owners, and developers. What is software assurance? The level of confidence that software is free from vulnerabilities either intentionally designed into the software and accidentally inserted anytime during its life cycle, and that the software functions as if vetted by purchaser or user. Software design principles. Design principles are guidelines used to help organize, construct, and engineer the components of code. Planning how to structure code before implementing it is critical, as it will increase the likelihood of robust, flexible, testable, and scalable components. Software development security problems. Some of the challenges from application development security of Vue include viruses, Trojan horses, logic bombs, worms, agents, and applets. Application can contain security vulnerabilities that may be introduced by software engineers either intentionally or carelessly. Buffer overruns, buffer command injection, cross-site scripting, failure to handle errors, failure to protect network traffic, failure to store and protect data securely, failure to use cryptographically strong random numbers, format string problems, neglecting change control. Improper use of SSL, information leakage, trigger bugs, race condition, and SQL injection. Thank you for listening.